Good morning everyone. This is teacher Sidra from the Wave Private School. Today we have a new topic, that is electric field. In this topic we will have different objectives. First of all, we will see what is electric field and how it is represented. After that we will see what are point charges. Then our third objective is forces between point charges. So one by one we will discuss these three things. This is grade 11, chapter number 17, A-level physics, and you will find this topic in the course book page 274. Now let's start. Electric field. Electric charges create electric fields in the regions surrounding them. Or we can say that an electric field is a region of space where electric charges experiences a force. As you can see here, two charges are present. This is positive charge and this is negative charge. So these two charges creating a force in their region, and this force in the region is called electric field. As you can see, if this charge is experiences a force in their surrounding area, then this force is called electric field. Electric fields may be represented by field lines. Here these lines are called electric field lines. Field lines always go away from positive charges and towards negative charges. As you can see here, it will go away from positive charges and towards the negative charges. Or we can say always electric field lines originated from the positive charges or will go away from positive charges, and these electric lines of force are inward in case of negative charges. They have the same direction as the direction of force on a positively charged particle at a point in that field. Electric field surrounding a charged sphere is radial. So we can say that these electric fields that charges are surrounding are called radial field. As radial means radii, that is originated from a sphere, from a common point. So we can say that field is radial. Now we will move to the point charges. And what is point charge? Any charge, whether positive or negative, whose electric field is to be found at a particular point or at a particular distance, then we can say charge is called point charge. Any charge, as you can see here, if any charge is present and we have to find the electric field at this point, then that charge is called point charge. The sphere is a conductor. In this picture, this circle is called a sphere, or we can say sphere is a conductor. So charge on the sphere distributes itself evenly around the surface of sphere. If we can say this is a conductor or a sphere, and charges are distributed here, positive charges are distributed outside the sphere of the conductor, then from any position outside the sphere, electric field lines appear to radiate from center of sphere. Then we can say that this charge is called point charge if a sphere is distributed by positive charges equally distributed on the surface, and we can say that electric field lines are originated from the sphere outward, or we can say it is from center of sphere to the outside of the sphere, because it is positive charge. So arrow will be outward direction. For any point outside a spherical conductor, the charge on the sphere may be considered to act as point charge at the center of sphere. So we can say that if we have to find any charge outside the sphere of conductor, then the charge on this sphere may be act as point charge. So we can say this charge is point charge. Now let's move to the Coulomb's law. We know that like charges repel. It means if there are positive and positive charges are in front of each other, then they always repel, and negative always repel. And unlike charges always attract each other. So in 18th century, Charles Coulomb investigated the magnitude of force between the charges. His law stated as force between 2 point charges is proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. This is known as Coulomb's law. To understand this thing, if you see this picture, here 2 point charges are present. This one charge is plus Q1 and another charge is plus Q2. These two charges are point charges where we have to find the electric field. And the force is, we know that if a charge is positive, then the force is in outward direction. So we can say that force between two charges is proportional to the product of these charges. Product means if they are multiplied to each other, then we can say charges are product of these two charges. And distance, r is the distance between these two charges. So we can say that F is directly proportional to Q1 Q2 over R square. Force is directly proportional to Q1 Q2 two charges. So we can say that force is proportional to the product of their charges. It means multiplied two charges. So product of their charges, and inversely proportional. We know this thing that if a square is on the downside, then force is inverse relation with the distance. So we can say that force is inversely proportional to the square, as r is the r square. So we can say force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance. R is the distance and square of the distance between them. So is it clear that force is proportional to these two charges, product of these charges, and inversely proportional to the square of the, as you can see here, r square, so square of the distance between them. If we remove this proportionality sign, then we can say that F is equal to K Q1 Q2 over R square. And what is K? K is constant of proportionality, the value of which depends on the insulating medium around the charges. K is, we can say, a constant and its value depends on the medium that is present between these two charges. And the system of units. In SI units, F is measured in newtons. We know that the unit of force is Newton and Q is charge, and the unit of charge is, what is the unit? Yes, the unit of charge is Coulomb, and R is always measured in meters. So in SI units, it is represented as K is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught. The constant K is given as 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught. You know what is the value of pi and epsilon naught value. We understand this thing. So F is equal to, if we put this value into this equation, then we will get this relation. So by putting the value of K is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught. So we can get the relation Q1 Q2 over 4 pi epsilon naught R square. This is the relation of Coulomb's law, that force is proportional to the product of charges and inversely proportional to the distance between them. If the medium is K, and what is the value of K? We will see in this permittivity of free space. If the medium is space, then we can say that permittivity of free space. So what is permittivity of free space? Permittivity of free space epsilon naught. Here 4 pi epsilon naught. So this epsilon naught is called permittivity of free space. It means medium is free. There is no space. It is vacuum. And vacuum means there are no particles are present. The permittivity of free space is a physical constant used often in electromagnetism. It is the constant. It represents the capability of a vacuum to permit electric fields. When the charges are in vacuum, the quantity epsilon naught is called permittivity of free space. As you can see here, if there are two capacitor plates, positive plate and negative plate, there are two charges are present on the opposite sides of plates, and the space is vacuum, then we can say the quantity epsilon naught is called permittivity of free space. When charges are in vacuum, if this area is vacuum and charges are, as you can see, these are charges. When charges are present in vacuum, then epsilon naught is called permittivity of free space. This epsilon naught, we will mostly use the word for epsilon naught is permittivity. The value of permittivity of air is very close to that of vacuum. Its value is nearly equal to vacuum. So the value of permittivity of free space is given by epsilon naught is equal to 8.85 multiplied by 10 to the minus 12 coulomb square per Newton per meter square. This is the specific value that you will memorize. Coulomb's law is, and K is 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught is equal to 8 point. If you put this value epsilon naught in this equation, then the value for K is 8.9 and multiplied by 10 to the 9. Coulomb's law is often referred as an inverse square law of force because the variation of force with distance r between the charges is proportional to 1 over r square. To understand this thing, this is an example. Calculate the force between 2 point charges if each of 1 multiplied by 10 to the minus 19 coulomb, which are 4 centimeter apart in a vacuum. Here two charges are given, one whose charge is 1 into 10 to the minus 19 and the distance is 4 centimeter, and we know this relation F is equal to K Q1 Q2 over R square. This is the Coulomb's law and we derived this relation in the last slide. So F is equal to 9 multiplied by 10 to the 9. This is the value of K, and Q1 Q2 is given that 1 into 10 to the minus 19 square. Like both charges have the same value, so it will be equal to square, and the distance is given, that is 4 centimeters. So you will convert into meters, so it will become 4 into 10 to the minus 2, just divided into 100. So when it will go to the upside, it will become 10 to the minus 2. 4 multiplied by 10 to the minus 2 square. Then if you multiply and divide this equation, then you can get the answer 5.6 into 10 to the minus 6 Newton. These are the relations F is equal to K Q1 Q2 over R square, mostly in your numerical. So second numerical you will do at your home. Is it clear now? This is the Coulomb's law. So this is the end of our lecture. Thank you.